So, what we're doing. Sorry, I'm no good at this stuff. So, I had a video. It was of me planting all my gardens. You can see back here, garden, uh, raised bed stuff, all this stuff. So, we had just planted our spring garden. This bed, I had cantaloupe and watermelon planted. And then, see if you can see her. That little girl over there, to get up and dig up my gardens. And so I now have to replant. I'm gonna put this way up here. Oh, I can't see. I have to replant this whole bed. It was full of cantaloupe and watermelon. And so I'm going to try and show you me planting this garden over again. So here is my bed. So I've already, you can see there's kind of a lot of straw down here still. I use straw as a mulch. And so after somebody who's laying behind me eating grass, she decided this morning she was going to rip up and dig through the garden. And you know, dogs, like they do, let me flip this into you, but you know, dogs, when they like to dig because there's fresh soil, and I just did these beds last week. I just planted all this up here. Okay, yeah, better view. I just planted all this last week, and to the point where I actually come over here past my flowers. The stuff over here, let's switch back. Down here, this is all my corn, and they just started sprouting today. It's Friday now. I planted all of this on Sunday, and if you can come in right here real close, get real close, you can see those sprouts right there of my corn. But this is going to be our sweet corn that we're planting. Hopefully it doesn't get too hot and burn it up. But back over here. So I've got this whole bed down here, there we go, down there. All of this is, I've already thrown in manure and compost and all that stuff, done all that stuff. This last season I had, over here on this end, we had our bell pepper, which is actually over there with our tomatoes now. And this whole area, down here, sorry, this whole area down here was actually carrots through the winter, which out here, because of the heat, it's actually better for us growing carrots in the winter months than it is like in most places you'd grow in the summer. Here we grow them in the winter because it just stays warm enough. But what we're gonna do is I'm basically gonna go kind of refresh this, churn it all up, because when she dug in there, I don't know where any of those seeds are now, because I had over on this side, I had all my cantaloupe planted, and over on this side over here, I had all my watermelon planted, but she dug everything up and churned it, and now I've got, you know, my seeds are somewhere scattered through all of this. So my goal is, let me get back up here. Oof, my arm gets tired. Now I understand why selfie sticks exist, or tripods and things like that. But what we're gonna do is I'm going to churn all this up to basically kind of work those seeds in, and hopefully they get buried far enough in here that they're not gonna sprout, basically. I wanna try and get them deep enough down, or that they end up in a place where whenever they sprout, I know they aren't where I want there, and I'll be able to pull them out. All right, so I just got a little shovel here. And this thing has been, I just got this. This is actually really nifty. It's like, what's this little like 2-foot shovel? I think I bought it kind of half thinking I was gonna use it for camping. Just for, you know, campfires and stuff like that. And, you know, you gotta stir out your ashes. Well, I've immediately found a use for this, and I just take it in here, and trying to do this one-handed, but I can just take it, get in here, and churn all this up. And I'm gonna switch hands because I am very right-handed and trying to do all this. But what I'm basically just gonna come in here and churn all this up. Woo! And get a wider shot here. There we go. Better idea. What I mean, and I like this shovel because its size is really helpful for these beds, because using a bigger shovel, and I have a full-size shovel, but things like right here, I can't get into these spots with my full-size shovel. It's just too wide. I can't get past this, and this space gets really tight, and I've got a planter hanger here. But I can get in these spaces right here and get in this and churn this up and cut this and get right in here and do all this. And kind of get some leverage on this stuff. And the big shovel, it makes it really hard to do. So I'm gonna try and do this, but I'm going to finish. But right now, first things first, I'm just gonna flip this whole thing and just churn it up really good and get it all mixed up. And then I'm gonna even it out. So let me get this churned up and I'll be right back. All right, so I've got this all churned up. And unfortunately, in my process of churning this all up, you can see over here, you see this. These are the roots from potatoes, because I completely forgot I had also planted some potatoes in the front of this bed, and so they actually came up. These are the roots from that one. This one still got the roots on it, so I'm going to try and put this back in, but I completely forgot that I put potatoes in this bed. I think I also have them over there with the corn, I believe, in the corn, or over here with my cucumbers and pumpkins. And you just take a look over here. My pumpkins, actually, you start seeing them starting to sprout. There's little bits. So right there, you can see that one coming up. I got some right. Oh, that's probably, these leaves weren't out this morning. It's kind of nice. And then I got 2 more sprouts right there. So, but back over here, I have some potatoes over in that bed as well, but I completely forgot that I had potatoes in here. So I'm going to try and replant those after I'm done with this. I'll try and get those back in the ground, because I've been trying to grow potatoes this whole time, and so it'd be really nice if I'm actually able to do it. But at this point, I just need to go back and spread everything back out. Whoa, zoomed in way too much there. But I'm just going to, there we go, let's back up. There we go. I'm just gonna even this out, and I'm just doing this by hand. And if you're curious, I generally don't actually wear gloves when I'm working. I like the feel. You can kind of, it's easier to break up stuff. I do wear gloves if I'm like using my shovels and stuff. I'll use them like my big, like this stuff here. Like wood handle stuff like this. These handles get rough. You can get splinters. So sometimes I'll wear my gloves if I'm doing like if I'm raking leaves, or raking the grass, I will actually use my gloves. But I don't use them when I'm digging in the dirt or if I'm working with dirt. I actually like the feel of the dirt and working with it. It's just a natural thing. Yeah, I'm kind of a hippie. But so I'm going to spread all this out. Get this, just kind of eyeball it and get it evened out. And then next step, I don't know if you saw up here, I have my my water lines for this, and I just kind of pulled them out and hang them up here while I'm working, so I can replace them in their locations after I'm done. So we're gonna spread all this out, get it all. That looks pretty even to me. So the next step is actually going to be leveling, or is actually going to be packing this in. All that churning everything up, and now I got to pack it in. So I just take my stone rake and just kind of pack it, and I get really tight right here. Really, the big thing is right here around this, around the post, because I need to have the post in there really solid. Because one of the problems I ran into last year was these posts, I was on our cucumbers, as they started to get heavy, they started to pull, and they started pulling the thing away from the wall and started kind of dragging. So I want to make sure these are packed really solid. So get all these packed in. Let's do this. And yes, I'd probably be doing this with 2 hands, but camera work. Let's see, let's do this. All right. And I just take this, and I just really just kind of rake it, kind of smooth it out a bit. And again, a little trickier to do one-handed, but we'll make do. Okay, and just kind of level it this way, but then I'll just take it, watch out for the water, and just go along. Not even really pushing too hard, just want to lightly pack it so that if there's anything, it needs a little bit of substance. It needs a little bit of ability to grip when the roots are setting, so you can't have it too loose. If it's too loose, then it just doesn't have enough substance for everything to grip. The water flows straight through, so it's got to have a little bit of packed in there, but not a lot. All right, that's about it. Just lightly pack it, not a big deal. All right, now that that's packed, I'm going to next step. I'm actually going to, getting hot. Let's flip this around. There. All right, I'm getting sweaty, but flip around here because that's a better view than the back of my house. But it's okay. Now that's done, I'm going to come over. I'm going to take wheelbarrow. There we are. And I'm going to reapply my straw mulch. I'm going to put this down first, and then I'm going to plant on top of that. I think I'm going to put these potatoes in, then I'll put the mulch in. So we'll do that in just a second. All right, so here we're going to go ahead and we're going to plant our potatoes. And I normally would use my cultivator kind of hand hoe for this, but I'm just going to do this by hand. So I'm just going to kind of dig a hole. And I need to get myself a flag or something to mark where I put the potatoes this time, so I don't forget they're here. I'm just going to dig myself a hole about yay down. I know that's basically halfway down in my bed here, and I'm going to put my potato in there. And this previously had spuds, or had a what's it? Blanking the word. The little eyes, not spuds. Spuds is just another word for potato. But you know what I mean. The little root nodes. And so just bury that right there. Just kind of mental note. It's kind of halfway right there, I guess. And for the sake of ease, I'm going to kind of do the next one in basically the same spot on the other side of that center picket. Just dig down. Now, I could have swore I had 3 potatoes in here, but I couldn't find them once I realized. I was like, oh wait, crap, my potatoes. I couldn't find the third one. Is that a rock? Yeah, it's a rock. Let's get that out of here. Oh, look, another rock. Ugh. Boy's sitting there digging, tossing the rocks around. Grab my other potato. And since this one still has some roots on it, I really want to make sure these roots are in there and solid, because for the first time I had potatoes growing, and I'm really excited about that. So I really want to get this in here, bury that, kind of pack that in there a little bit, get this in here real good. All right, and just gotta have to remember. And it's the thing about potatoes is that they don't show you where they are exactly. And most of the growth is underground. You don't want to see a lot of potato stuff at the surface, because if you start seeing potatoes, they start getting, like, if your potatoes themselves actually get sun exposure, then it's actually bad for them. They go green, and green potatoes are toxic. So yeah, you don't want to do that. But next thing, we're going to go ahead and put down the rest of this. So put the straw mulch back, and a lot of this, as you can see, this has a lot of soil and dirt in it, and for all I know, some of those seeds that were in there are mixed in with this. And so I'm just going to throw this down because I'm lazy. I'll probably have to get a little bit more, because I had like probably 2 inches deep all the way across, and this is definitely not going to be enough. So I'll have to go back over to my straw basket, bucket, trash can, dumpster thing that I use. Yeah, that's definitely not going to be enough. So let's jump. I've got this trash can. It was, at the time I filled this was completely filled with, it's this compressed straw. So it's like all shredded down and compressed into a brick, and the brick is like maybe 50 pounds. But when you break it apart, it just explodes in volume. And so I've filled all of these beds several times over with this straw, as both like a supplement for compost and just as a topping, as a mulch. I'm gonna just take some of this. I like it being in the sheets like this, because I can just grab a sheet and come over with it and then break the sheet up and just kind of watch it deflate. And now my trash can over there is so light that it can't. There we go. Break all this up. I'm gonna just spread this all out everywhere. Spread the straw everywhere. And I need to get some more. Like I said, I put like probably a good 2 inches of straw down, and the straw helps. The straw will help with keeping the weeds down. It helps keep. It flipped over on me. I had to go get it. And it'll chokes out the weeds. It also holds the moisture in. It stops evaporation, which, living in Phoenix, you really have to work on your evaporation and preventing a lot of that, because your ground dries out and you have to use a lot more water to keep your plants hydrated, and that just sucks. Like, water might not be super expensive, but when you've got all these gardens and you've got vegetables, you're growing vegetables, use a lot of water. So, all right, let's put a little bit more here, sorry. Whew. Let's do this. Break this block up here and spread it out. All right. Really, I'm like, if I'm seeing dirt, I think I need more. Then, all right, so got all this spread out pretty good, I think. All right, that's done. Put this up. There we go. That's gonna fall over on me again, probably. All right, so we got this. And I've got boys out here watching what I'm doing and making fun of me, I'm sure. All right, so before I do anything else, I'm actually going to take my hose, which I've had hanging over here on the side, and I'm going to spray down all of this straw because, I don't know if you noticed, it's really dusty and it kind of flies everywhere. And so I'm just going to wet all this down to get this to mat down a little bit more, because you do want it to be pretty hydrated when you first plant anyway, just because, again, its job is to help hold that moisture in, and if it's all dried out, it's just going to, you know, kind of be sucking up that moisture. So there we go, turn it off. All right, so what I'm going to do is this half here are going to be cantaloupe, and this half over here are going to be watermelon, and in here, you know, my potatoes are in here, and I've got to remember that next time if she digs them up. That could be what happened. I bet she dug up my third potato because she likes doing that shit. I bet that's what happened to my third potato. So I'm just going to kind of pull back a little area right here of the straw, pull back a little area, pull back a little area. I feel like those are too big. We'll work with it. Pull back. I'm just gonna pull it all back. Fuck it. Pull it all back about halfway. And I probably should have, what I should have done, and I did it last time, but I wasn't thinking about it because I'm focusing on video, is I should have put my water lines down first. And I guess I'll go ahead and do that now because I can cover them back up. But put the water line down so that way when the mulch goes back over, it covers up the water line and it stays kind of concealed. So let me do that. Put this back over here. Just drop this one right here in the middle too, and then put that there. All right. And I'm gonna take my little stick. I got my little stick here. This is actually just a broken sprinkler head, just like that. Dog chewed it, so now I've got a stick. I'm just gonna go in, find my spot, make a little hole, and 2, and 3, and 4. I think that's enough. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, is that gonna be 3? There we go. 3 and 4. There we go. Set my stick aside, and before I do anything else, I got my labels. I just put CA for cantaloupe because I'm lazy and I don't want to write out cantaloupe on a little flag. And over my cucumbers, I don't know if you noticed, I just wrote CU for cucumber because, again, I'm lazy. And one right there. That's where that one is. That one, and that one. Okay, mark those, and we'll do the same over here for the watermelon. Start at the middle, I guess. Just do my little hole here. 2, 3, and 1 on the other side of this post. 4, 1, 3, 4. All right. And my flags. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Okay, 4. There's my flags. Now all I have to do is put the seed. So let me get that out of here real quick. All right, so I got my seeds out, and this is what we're planting. We've got the Fairy Morse, the Hearts of Gold cantaloupe. And I just like these because it's got that really deep orange. I thought that was going to be something different. And then, we're doing the Bush Sugar Baby watermelons. So they're like the little personal size watermelons. We tried growing full size watermelons, and we were actually, last season, we ended up growing Congo watermelons, which apparently can't handle the dry heat out here and exploded before they got to full size. So we're gonna try these little ones that are supposed to grow here. And I'm not fancy, I bought these seeds at Walmart. But nothing fancy. Let's set this down. Here. Can you pour me out some seeds here? Hey, it's another day, and long story short, when I was filming that last video, my phone overheated and died on me. So I had to finish without you, but I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of what I did, and I'll show you where we are. It's been a few days. I just haven't had time to come back out here. So let's see. So everything's done, but let's see. So what did we do? I went ahead, you saw I pulled out the seeds, so I basically just dropped, kneeling on the bricks, and the bricks are hot. So each of these little spots right here is for where one of the seeds, I like dropped 2 seeds in each spot, and there's about 4 for each plant, watermelons and cantaloupe here. And basically just dropped 2 seeds in, and then, you know, covered it up, patted it down, watered everything in, and I kind of spread the straw back out. But one of the things that I've started doing, at least with this particular round in the garden, is I flagged every hole. Because in the past we've always had this problem where we didn't know exactly where things were planted. So I went ahead and did that this time. And then I pulled back the straw over each of those holes, because another problem we had last season, I gotta do this right here, was that when the sprouts would come up, they would always have to push through the straw or push through the mulch, and they'd have to, it's a lot more work for them to push through that than just push through the dirt. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to let them push up through the dirt, and once the sprouts come up a little ways, then I'll just cover the base back over again. And I just water everything down, put the sprinklers heads back down, if you can see, put the sprinklers back in, and that's kind of that. And now I'm just kind of waiting and wait to see where everything is. Oh, in the meantime, I haven't shown you. Okay. Over here's the corn. And I realized that's upside down. Over here's the corn. And our corn, we actually have all 8 of our little corn spots have sprouted up. So probably next weekend I will be putting flowers. I'll be putting come over here to the tomatoes. I'll be putting our green beans in to grow along with those. And then over here, tomatoes are looking good. I've got like 20 some odd tomatoes. And these are yellow pear tomatoes. You can see them in there. We weren't even expecting these to sprout. I trimmed these back at in the winter. And I've got like 20 some odd tomatoes on each of these bushes. And I'm pretty sure I told you I moved our bell peppers over here. So we got those over here. Over here we've got my cucumbers and pumpkins. Just yesterday these started sprouting up. It's like a week and a half it's taken for the cucumbers to pop up. We got one, this one never came up, and I don't think it's going to. 2, 3. We had one that came up right here, and I think it was because Mystic was digging and tossed it around and it got relocated. But those are all planted, and then the pumpkins started coming up yesterday. And so we've got all these, and we got 2 that actually came up in each of these little spots. So we're going to probably be thinning those out in the next, probably next weekend, because next weekend I'll be planting the green beans over with the corn, and we'll go through and kind of decide which of the pumpkins and everything else. Hopefully the cantaloupe and the watermelons will be coming up by that point too, and then we'll know kind of how everything looks. But the pumpkins and the cucumbers we'll be able to thin out and find, just save the best plants and go from there. Just hopefully this time in a month we'll be able, our whole garden will just be walls of green again, which is really cool. It looks really bare right now, but I'm looking forward to it. So maybe, hopefully I'll be able to keep you updated. But I guess I don't know how to end things, so I guess that's it. And maybe I'll see you next time with another garden update.